Soundwavez Radio, baby.
I can understand.
Hey, everybody, it's your boy Illadelp. I'm grateful to be in the building in the land of the living one more time. And right now, you're tuned into the Illadelp Show, presented to you by Soundwavez Radio. And this here is The Corner. And right now, my special guest, a good dear friend, somebody I like to sit under and obtain a lot of knowledge, my man, Dr. L. Stanley. If you don't know, you're about to... Well, Stanley L. I apologize. Dr. Stanley L. If you don't know, now you know. And here he is. And my first question right now to you is, how did this all get started? We know that you're a radio personality for the American Dream Show on Rowan University. And I know you got umpteen thousand things going on as well. So just give us a little bit about you, touch on your history all the way up till now, and just let them know you.
Okay. Well, first, I don't know if I can keep up with you, man, with all that. That's the first thing. Now, give me a little energy. I can pump you up a little bit. Well, the first thing is I am Philadelphia born. Mm-hmm. I was born in South Philly, moved to North Philly, and then left Philadelphia at the age of about 4 years old. Parents had some issues with the way things were going for us, and thought it would be safe for us to be in the country. So we moved to South Jersey, Sicklerville. I am actually born a Moorish American. Mm-hmm. And that's how I grew up to the age of 15. And then we left in another part of South Jersey and just basically been in South Jersey my whole life. Okay. As a youth, being that I grew up as a Moorish American, there were certain disciplines that I had. And I'll say it this way, I never really had a so-called black experience because I was Moorish Americans. Moorish Americans believed in certain principles. They were brought up vegetarian for the most part. Okay. A lot of differences. The biggest part, I think, of growing up as a Moor for me was the discipline that you got. Mm. You were taught that you were a child of God and that anything God could do, you can do. Right. And being 4, 5, 6 years old and hearing stories about different things happening, you actually believed it, you know. So by the time I was 12 years old, and any average Moor, by the time they hit their teens, you were pretty much independent. You were thinking independent. You had goals, ideas, and things. They're very entrepreneurial people at that time. Mm-hmm. My father had a business. My mother was independent. Uncles and aunts had businesses. So we grew up to be independent. At 17, I graduated from high school. We're right into business. Okay. Okay. Now, where did you attend college at? I didn't. Okay. Okay, so a lot of your self-awareness or the things that you've done were basically from your upbringing then? The foundation was definitely there. I mean... When you're taught as a young person that you're a child of God, you can do anything you want, and you believe in that, you have a tendency to be motivated by that spirit. Mm. So even as a young child, I was very good in school. I was pretty much an A student, but I also ventured into other things. You know, I started studying mental metabolism, stuff like that, at age 6. Okay. I got into metaphysics very early on. And to me, it was just a matter of the course because the Moors were very independent. There was always someone you aspired to because they were self-taught. Few went in the military, most had businesses and things like that. So I always aspired to do things independent, knowing that God was the spirit of motivation behind me to do things. So I never had a limitation. And they had a thing going on. If you said can't, you were literally physically slapped in the head for saying the word can't. Right. So, you know, like, 12 years old, I'm thinking independent. They had a nice organization they called Royal Sentinels for the young men that was teaching them corporate structure, parliamentary procedures, and Robert's Rules of Order. By 15, you know, I'm spending time with uncles and things like that in their businesses. It was just a matter of getting through high school to get on my own. Okay. So how did it come around with your radio show as far as Rowan University? How did you work that or maneuver that? Well, actually, that's a good question. I was in the entertainment business for a long time, promoting shows, groups. We had one time, by the time I was 19, we had the largest discotheque in New Jersey called the Time Machine up in Trenton, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. We also had a radio show called, that was part of our thing at TNJ up in Trenton. And that's kind of where I had my first radio experience. But as I started doing more marketing work, I started getting people asking me to come to do radio shows. I ended up on DAS a couple of times, and one of the friends, actually the uncle of Cody Anderson, actually got me involved in radio at WNWR over in Philadelphia. Okay. I remember that. Yeah. So I was doing a Sunday morning commentary there for a while,
And then a friend of mine who was the wife of Frank Hogan, general manager at Rolling Radio, said, why don't you come to Rolling Radio? And I've been there going on 17 years now.
And you have a very, very good show. Caught me off guard when I first called in. So as far as being a radio personality or radio host back then, all the way up till now, some of the changes are drastic.
Yes.
Some of the changes are not as major as they should be. How do you feel about today's radio? I mean, back then, radio was informative. You had some of everything to where you could get what you need and survive not watching TV. It was either radio or TV, and it was a hard decision. So how do you feel about today's radio,
Well, I think today's radio has a lot more flexibility, a lot more options because you have internet radio now. And for the young people, I'm around young people all the time, so I have a large group of them follow me around. I get to see what they're doing. I get to get involved in what they're doing. Just that aspect of radio has opened up opportunities tremendously, I think, for those who are self-motivated.
Right. So tell us about your show. Like I said, I had the pleasure of being on there. It was an awesome experience. So tell us about your show.
Well, the show was actually written long before I actually got the opportunity to do the show. I had some ideas. I'm always writing ideas as they come, and because I feel that's obedience to God. When God gives you something, you take it and make it happen. And
obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yes, it is. and part of that obedience is to write things down. So I wrote the show several years before I had the opportunity to do the show. And it was a function of my own experiences, being able to get into corporate America without a college education, being able to get in supervisory leadership positions. And when I left, I worked for a national company doing product development.
Okay.
And started my own design firm, then grew into a full-service marketing firm. I actually started getting recognized by organizations like Who's Who, American Marketing Association, which I became president of out of Philadelphia.
Okay.
And then started doing consulting work for national companies, Fortune 500 companies at that.
Right.
That alone told me that America was special. Here I am, person of color, with no college education, and I'm get top dollar as a consultant with national companies and stuff like that. So the American dream was actually an attempt to open up a door for people who had those kind of opportunities to get them on the air, to get them to inspire others to pursue their dreams.
Right. Now, I want you to understand, too, when you tune into his show, he has a youth crowd. He's actually educating the youth. It's like he's sitting in a classroom and he's talking to these young people, and whoever his guests are talking to these young people, and then you hear these young people respond to this. So it's very youth-oriented. He's teaching, he's giving back. And make sure that you tune in and check him out. I mean, it's definitely a good, like I said, I had the opportunity to be on the show. It was a great experience for me. And as you see, he's all about establishing rapport and developing relationships. He's not, come on my show and get off my show. It's not like that. Dr. Stanley is a great man. You can Google him. He has tons of information, page upon page upon page upon page. Tell the people where they can find you at, and let us know how we can kind of tune into your show and find out and listen to you.
Well, the show is 89.7 WGLS FM. If you're out of the area, you can get it online at rolling.wgls. And they stream the show. You can also get it on your phone. I don't have that number, but all that information is on the website. So there's any way you want to get us. If you want to get us, you can get it.
Okay, now we need some imparting wisdom from you. You get ready. We're finishing up the interview, and I tune into your show. Ever since I've been on your show, I've tuned into your show. I listen to your show. And the one thing that I always like the way you come across. You don't sugarcoat anything. You don't water down anything. I respect that, and you're very mindful. But the thing that captured my heart with you is that it's for the youth. And I like that. And I like how you're dropping nuggets. So I'm asking you to drop a nugget for the listeners.
Okay, I would say this, especially since you're listening to the show. I always, since I was involved in Camden, which is back in 2000 for about 5 years, I always ask the youth, after they've learned something from me that they could apply, to pass it on. Don't wait until you're an adult either. If you have siblings that are 3, 4, 5 years old, give it to them now. Because they're at that point where they're totally open. They're flexible, they absorb, they look up to you, and anything you give them, they're going to expand upon. That is the future as far as I'm concerned. If you get some values, some truths, some laws, because I try to base everything on universal principles, universal laws, if that hits home with you, then pass it on to the younger people. And you'll see them do magnificent things, more so than myself, because I try to use myself as that example, having the opportunities as a young person. So it's real to me in that respect. But you can't wait until you're an adult and then look back and point the finger and say you did this, you did that, when you're actually the ones that are painting and putting the world together for those young people to take over and live in.
Exactly. And like I said, to know this man is a gem. Dr. Stanley L., please Google him. Find out more about him. Tune into his show. For a lot of you young people who don't know, this is an opportunity for you to know. And great, phenomenal man. Like I said, sheet upon sheet, page upon page, you will see Dr. Stanley L. is not the average man at all. God-fearing, very powerful person. Get to know him, find out. Anybody you want to say hello to, bye to, you have the floor.
Oh, give a little shout out to the wife. Always got to do that.
Shout out to the wife.
Yeah, Obi, I love you. I mean, that's the way it is. You know how that goes. And the girls, of course, they know it too. And I have a lot of friends out there. The names are just too numerous. But I'm going to stick with you, man, because the young people are really where my heart is. Mm-hmm. And I give it all to them because God's light shines greater in that purity than it does in anything else. Exactly. And that's what they have going on.
Exactly. So with that being said, you have just posted up on the corner with Dr. Stanley L., Illadelp, my man ER215, and shout out to my man MacArthur Clutch out there. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. Illadelp Show, The Corner, Soundwave Radio. I'm gone.